Hey guys, it's SJ, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, I'm SJ. I'm a mum of 3 and I've recently lost about 4 stone in the last few months doing the Cambridge weight plan, which some people say is a bit of a crash diet, but it is that, but it's also a very well organised diet. You have a one-to-one consultant. My mum actually trained to be a Cambridge weight plan consultant, which is how I got into it. I'll link her business page below if you want to ask any more questions, and I've done lots of vlogs about Cambridge weight plan, and I know a lot of you guys are interested in it or have started doing it, and I wanted to say like that I haven't found this easy. Like, it probably seems like I found it really easy. I've really enjoyed it. I have enjoyed it because, I mean, who wouldn't enjoy losing like 4 stone in a short amount of time? It's been really transformative, and it's given me so much more than just a new body. It's given me a lot of control over my food, it's given me a lot of confidence, a lot of happiness, and lots of other good stuff that started happening as a result of it. As I say, I feel really proud. I'm sticking on the diet. It's definitely got easier now, but it's hard, you know. I was overweight for a reason, and my eating habits were that way for a reason. So it's not just the fact that you're changing your food, you're changing a lot mentally, and you're changing a lot socially, and you're changing a lot within your family dynamic. So yeah, there's a lot going on when you decide to start a diet, whether it's Cambridge weight plan or Slimming World or Weight Watchers or whatever it might be. So yeah, so I am now 8.5 stone, which is bonkers. I started at 12 stone 5. So yeah, it's about 4 stone weight loss in total. So the first struggle really is the weigh-in, isn't it? I absolutely hate the weigh-in, and I'm really fascinated to know, do you weigh yourself every day, or do you never weigh yourself, or how do you do it? Because I find this so interesting. The people who weigh yourselves every single day, good on you. I am not that type of person. I've never weighed myself. I hardly weighed myself on a Cambridge weight plan, and what I started to do was kind of a weekly weigh-in on a Saturday morning, because it kind of kept me strong for Friday night, and then because I was so chuffed about my weight on Saturday, kept me strong for Saturday night as well. So just figure out how you want to do a weigh-in, and don't feel obsessed that you even have to weigh in. I didn't want to know what I weighed at the beginning, and I never knew, and I would basically sometimes just write down in kilos what I was, because I didn't understand that. Take a picture of the scales and only look at it every couple of weeks were my kind of coping strategies for just getting through it. Because I think if I'd have had to go to, say, a group and stand on big scales, it would have terrified me. I know there's great coping strategies for that as well, but yeah, the weigh-in, it's horrible. It never gets easier, even as it's going down. It's just always such a scary moment. The second real struggle is just recognizing your own bad habits. It's quite hard, especially then recognizing them and then having to change them. So my bad habits, I basically used the first week of the diet, which is so tough, to just kind of be like, oh, as if I was like a social experiment. How curious is she? She basically eats 4 potatoes and 2 other things before she's even served the kids dinner. Then she finishes the kids dinner. Then she has her own dinner once the kids are in bed, which is basically my bad habit. And just sort of recognizing that I was so unconsciously popping things in my mouth when I was cooking for them was really kind of interesting for me. And then I was so aware of it, I had to change it. So just having a cup of tea or something to sip on instead, just to kind of stop that. The other thing I noticed was that I really fancied a glass of wine at about 6:30, and sometimes I realised I was even then rushing through the bedtime because I was so wanted to get down and have a nice cold glass of wine, because yeah, you know, it's tough being a full-time mum. I've got 3 kids, and that was like my little switch off. That was my gear change, and I really relied on that for that gear change moment. So the way I got around that was to create new habits to overcome the old ones. So yeah, always having a cup of tea when I'm eating, when the kids are eating, but just having a cold drink in a wine glass. Just, you know, like, I've been through 3 pregnancies, I can skip a glass of wine, kind of going into that mentality, but having that nice cold drink in a wine glass just clicked my brain. And once I'd got through that, the rest of the evening I was totally fine not having a glass of wine. It was just this sort of thing, this little habit I'd got into, which I changed. And then I got into this new habit, which was listening to a podcast and tidying the kitchen, which sounds so dull. Hopefully you've got a more exciting life than me and can do something more interesting. But yeah, recognizing your habits, changing them and creating a new habit I found was the best way to get through that. Third struggle is just cheat days or treat days, and I think cheat days become such a part of like our language, isn't it? And loads of people ask me, do I have cheat days, do I have weekends off, and all of that, and I think we're just used to the idea that we're allowed to have cheat days, and I genuinely, for the first 3 months I didn't, and I think the way I did that was because the first month I was just super determined. I had a goal in mind, got through it, and that was my treat day, was showing up at my daughter's first birthday party as if I arrived as a guest, setting it all up and wearing a size 12 dress. That was my blinking treat day, and yes, I had a glass of Prosecco, I had a bit of her birthday cake, and I felt so happy with myself. But no, I didn't cheat, and because I was only cheating myself, and I always had this thing to myself as eat and drink for how I'm going to feel in the morning, because waking up in the morning and being able to literally, I can wake up now and I can put my hand on my tummy, and can you imagine being able to do that? Like, that's something I hadn't done in years, waking up and being able to feel my tummy and feeling it felt flat and unfull, and I didn't feel groggy, I felt lovely, and I just had that in my mind. So as it was getting to the evening, I was like, no, don't do this to yourself in the morning, be who you want to wake up next to, basically. The other struggle is to tell or not to tell. Do you like announce I'm on a diet or I'm starting today? It's just always so tough, isn't it, to actually just, I don't know, like, who do you talk about it to? And I just was like, started very relaxed, and I think that's the other good thing about Cambridge, you've got that consultant, so they're like, okay, you get started, here's your stuff, get started. And I had lots of texts actually from my mum that first day, just like, what are you doing now, what are you going to take with you there then? And it is really good because it's that one-to-one thing. But so I did have her to confide in, which was great, because nothing worse than kind of trying to tell your husband like, oh, like it's day 4 and I feel terrible, or you know, anyway. And then I also just found that online was a really good support group for me, and I didn't know whether to say to everyone, like, because I do YouTube and I've got an Instagram, and I started doing on Instagram stories on a Saturday morning, my little weigh-ins. I wasn't brave enough to really put it on my grid for like this permanent record, but then loads of you started like joining in that, and it felt really nice, and that was kind of like my support system. And I did tell my friends, but I didn't like make some big declaration of it. It was just like, if my friends came round, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna, I wouldn't even be like, oh, I'm on a diet. I was just like, oh, you have that, I'm gonna make my own little thing, and things like that. Or we'd go out for a friend with coffee, and I'd have my weight plan bar, and I'd just be like, oh no, I'm just gonna have this. And genuinely, does anyone really care what anyone else is eating? Not so much. People might be like, oh, you're so good, you're so good, I wish I was that good, you know, they've got a little thing like that. But then as soon as the weight starts dropping off, people like then start really cheering you on. So have a think about just tell or not to tell. But I found for me it was just having that consultant to talk to is the best thing for me, and then just being very relaxed and casual, not banging on about it too much when I'm actually with people. The other big struggle is the blinking week when you stay the same, or you put on, like, I've never put on actually on Cambridge Weight Plan, but I have had weeks where I stayed the same, and sometimes 2 or 3 weeks towards the end. It's going to demotivate you. Only weigh every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. Just measure yourself on how you're feeling mentally more than anything else. But play the long game, you know, you're in this till the end and you will get there. There's nothing stopping you getting there. Just change up how you are measuring your success maybe, and measure it in terms of just how good you felt that week and how proud you are of yourself for sticking on it for a week, and know that the weight loss will go at some point. So yeah, those are my 5 top diet struggles I've gone through over the last 6 months. I'd love to hear yours. Pop them in the comments below, or do you relate to these ones? Hope you found this useful. If you have, do hit subscribe to follow me here on YouTube. I'm going to do a few more weight loss videos of motivation and tips after my 4 stone weight loss. Woohoo! I also do mummy videos, baby name videos every single Monday, and lots more here on YouTube, and I would love to have you here. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys!